Why did I relapse? I hate even saying those words because I still can't process the fact that I did. And in so many ways I don't understand what's happened the last 6 months and the place that I found myself in. But I do know a lot of the reasons that contributed to what happened. And I've had a lot of people asking why things went backwards, why they went backwards so quickly. And I haven't spoken about it because I haven't processed it. I think because I went into some kind of survival mode the last few months where I just was in such a horrible place that I just needed to get through. But I'm starting to process what's happened now. And there are a few things that contributed to things going backwards that I wanted to talk about because they're really important. And they're also part of recovery that I don't think people understand enough. And that is the difference between looking better and feeling better. I will always say no one develops an eating disorder for no reason. There is always a reason that someone falls into that spiral. And those reasons could be one big thing, or it could be a multitude of things that have happened across the years. For me, there are so many different things that contributed to me first becoming unwell. A lot to do with having no self-esteem, hating myself, feeling worthless, feeling confused, being undiagnosed autistic, masking, burnout. But I think mostly it's those core beliefs of I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. And whilst through my recovery and what I was documenting, things were getting so much better in so many ways, I wasn't dealing with what was going on underneath at all. And for people that don't know, there's a really horrible paradox in recovery whereby you need to restore your nutritional health and your physical health. That is imperative. But it's not like you do that, you eat more and you feel better. Frequently you can feel worse because you now have the energy to think about all of the other things that you couldn't when you were, really struggling in it. So for me, I kind of feel like I made really good progress and I kept on going. And actually thinking about it in the kind of final bit before I went downhill, all I kept on telling myself is just keep going, just keep going. And whilst that got me through so many difficult parts of recovery, I was doing that to my psychological health. And I think I needed to stop and work on it, and I didn't. Partially because I didn't know it was as big and difficult as it was, but partially because I was scared. I was in a really weird paradox of, feeling that I looked so much better, having people tell me I was doing so well, and everything feeling like it should have been absolutely fine, but I wasn't feeling fine. And I hate saying that. And I was feeling really insecure. I was feeling insecure. I was feeling very nervous about where I was. But I also was okay with where I was. And this is what doesn't really make sense. And this is where the external environment interplayed with my psychological health. And looking back on it now, as I said to my nurse yesterday, the one thing I would do is go back and tell myself to give myself more time to get used to being where I was. But I didn't. I was struggling mentally and I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't feel like I could ask for help because I felt like I had to be okay. But I wasn't okay. You know, I've got other mental health difficulties and I've got a lot that I need to work on in my head. I need to work on my relationship with myself, how I see myself, how I feel about myself. And I didn't. And all of those difficulties and insecurities then interplayed with some really horrible things that happened in my world, external things. And illness for me takes over incredibly quickly. And I always say I find myself at the bottom of a hole before I even know that I've tripped, before I've even seen the hole, let alone know that I've tripped into it. And suddenly I was in a really bad place. And the last few months have been awful. There have been things that have happened that I want to eradicate from my brain. Incredibly difficult moments. But in the last month, I've started feeling more stable in my head. I've started feeling able to stand on my own 2 feet. And I've also realised and started talking about how I'm feeling and what went wrong. And I've been working really hard in therapy with that. And that's why we're not necessarily seeing this as things going horribly wrong. We're seeing this as a really important part of my journey, and we know what we need to work on now. And whilst I'm not in the best place and I've got work to do to get into a better place, we're going to take what worked last time and do that. And we're also going to be really, really aware of what didn't work last time and not repeat that. Which is why I'm doing recovery differently this time. That's why the fee moments are there. That's why I am working so hard in therapy this time, and we're working really, really quite intensely on some of those core beliefs and some of those things that have happened that contributed to me being unwell. This isn't everything that happened. There are things that I don't want to talk about. I don't know if I ever will. But that's where I'm at. I hope that kind of makes sense. I think what I'm really trying to say is, especially for someone who is in recovery from an eating disorder, please don't associate how they look with how they feel, because there's frequently a mismatch. And actually, when someone's in a healthier place, that's probably the more important time to be asking how they are and offering them a space to talk and knowing that they might not be okay. I hope this makes sense. I'm sorry if it doesn't. I don't know if it makes sense to me, but I'm still kind of in it. I'm getting out of it. I'll try and explain it a bit more another time, but that's what I can manage for today. See ya.